Good morning. Welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Tuesday, the 21st of June. So as we ever tick closer to the Brexit or the UK referendum vote, I shouldn't really call it Brexit, should I? Wrong term. Anyway, we're looking, let's start looking at Euro first, and some bright data, believe it or not. Another poll in the UK saw a continuation really of this the euro move back up again. Yet to fill the gap on the dailies. It could at some point still, of course, roll over. And I'm looking at this and maybe looking at the 60-minute bit closer and thinking, well, there's sort of various trend lines you could be popping across these lows here, thinking, well, if it does break these, I could be looking for the gap fill really, and maybe back down to that monthly pivot. The weekly pivots down that way as well, just below, but I'm more interested in sort of filling that gap at the moment. So if we do start seeing it roll, well, there would be the target. It did actually roll over quite a bit yesterday in the end, and we saw probably more movement on the euro than we had seen for quite some time, but let's see if it works today. Looking at cable, well, the more recent poll obviously didn't give it such a kick as the previous one. It's just really confirming the change in the numbers in terms of it was what was it 48 to remain. Now it's 53 on this one and 46 to leave. That's from 49 down from 49, so it's a 3% move on the leaves, or reduction in the leaves, which is pretty much in line with what was the expectation, I think, in the end. I'm just looking at other votes here. YouGov then saw 44% to 42%. Okay, so we saw a follow-up of that YouGov preference for the Leave campaign, so 44 to 42. So yes, another. So a bit mixed maybe, but at the same time, in the probabilities staying with the stays at the moment. Now we have, I was looking at this last night in the trading room, or yesterday afternoon, we have on cable run into the R1 here, the monthly R1. I was looking at that time for a cheeky little short off that, but well, it could still happen. Let's just have a look at there's a bit of sort of a divergency move, but not much so, and it's dropped down quite low, so it doesn't really qualify. It's more of a choppy move here. But I do wonder if we'll slide our way down this morning towards the daily pivot and maybe a little bit further. But it seems to be rather buoyant at the moment, and it's a small trade against direction at the moment, as opposed to, if anything's decent retracements, are probably a much bigger position. Dollar yen. Well, double bottoming here from a few days back, and it's already taken a bit of a kicker from this sort of level. There's the potential for it to push on, I guess, back up now. It's starting to move. Very choppy old days that we've seen yesterday. It just rolled over towards the end through to the Asian session, and we've seen this kicker at the moment already through the daily pivot. It's already hit the weekly pivot. There's not a lot in the way of targets for it. There is the possibility now at double bottom that it may continue a little bit more, particularly if the referendum votes continue to come out more balanced towards stay than leave, because it's just a bit more settling. Aussie dollar. Let's have a look at that from a daily perspective, and this little move here is continuing at the moment, and it's a case of whether it can break those prior highs here to see whether we're really in a more bullish move, and maybe seeing that monthly R1 hit at some point. It's not really diverging. I was looking to see if it's diverging on the 4 hourlies. It's not really. It's still pushing up quite healthily. There was the minutes came out overnight from the June meeting, and everything seems okay from those, and it's given a positive angle to the Aussie dollar. Still, again, below us, we've got an unfilled pivot here, which would like to see filled, and we've got an untouched daily pivot as well. So it's a bit like the pound in that respect. It's just slightly stronger than some in terms of its move, but it really needs to break down and get below these 21s, and the target's really quite tiny then, relatively, so it's not one I'll be trading today. Canadian dollar, well, we've seen a bit of a continuation. We haven't seen, again, the gap's not filled. That sort of sits there, particularly on the 4-hourly. So it needs to be filled at some point, ideally, but at the moment we're seeing this continuation move. Largely brought on yesterday, but a continuation push in the price of oil. I don't think that gap is probably a legitimate gap by the looks of things. The 4-hourly looks like it was filled all the way through, so maybe just my feed here that's give me that gap, but it's been pushing up pretty well, oil back into that $50 mark, just short of $50, and we're seeing a little sell-off here, which may temporarily give the CAD a bounce back up, but it is looking in a decent trend to the downside from a 4-hourly perspective, and even on this hourly perspective at the moment, the gap still sits there above us, which would be good to get filled like most of these, but so long as everyone's happy, we'll see a continuation potentially of this move. We've got an untouched daily pivot above us today. It's not, again, we're not talking about great big movements in these 20 pips towards that, which is next to nothing. So if oil was to take a bit more of a tumble, we will see that probably move up and catch its daily pivot, but it's calmed down after some of the good days that we've had in terms of range on the Canadian dollar. Okay, that's it for me. There's not a lot on today. We've got Draghi speaking at 2 o'clock. I mean, there's some German constituents court ruling. Goodness, what's that over? AMT. Looking, we've had the minutes from Australia. German economic sentiment that rarely moves anything. Draghi speaking at 2 o'clock. Of course, that can always move something. He's testifying in front of the Parliamentary Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee. So that will be same old, really. And likewise, when Fed Chair Yellen testifies at 3 o'clock this afternoon, again, it's the same old. It's just really going through what they've already said so many times. So I would be very shocked if the referendum doesn't get a comment in both of those speeches, of course, but they're not major movers as such. May get some volatility around 2 or 3, but most of what they'll say has been said. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.